Good morning. Thank you so much for joining me on my masterclass, the Leadership Wake Up Call. I really appreciate you taking the time. Promise to have you out of here in 45 minutes or maybe even a little bit less. So, a couple of housekeeping and actually acknowledgement issues, and then we'll get right into it. I know, or I hope that you have questions. I know I do when I participate in master classes, and I encourage you to, when you have that question, put it in the chat. We will get to the questions at the end of the class, but put it in while it's fresh in your mind, and I will answer every question that you ask. Secondly, I'd like to make an acknowledgement or two. And first is to Lisa McPhee, who taught me everything I know about giving a master class, helped me so much with my confidence. There are so many things I could go on, but she has been a rock through all this. Her and her team with Africa and Tara couldn't have done it without them. And I'd also like to thank Corinne Latta. She is my daughter. She's a licensed professional counselor, and she is actually manning the chat platform here. So when you put your questions in and stuff, she'll be taking a look at that. So thank you, Corinne, for helping me with that. So without further ado, we will jump right in. So, what we're talking about today is a program that I have developed for middle managers to move them from being a middle manager to a trusted leader. And there is no micromanagement required. I have a step-by-step game plan that helps create self-sufficient strategic thinking middle managers. So you can work on your business, not in it. I was a business owner for 37 years. I'll tell you a little bit about myself, a few slides out, but let me tell you what, I understand that statement very well. I know what it's like to be working in the business when really I needed to be working on it. So this program is for you if you're an executive or a business owner, if you struggle with middle managers who lack the strategic thinking and leadership skills, or and you feel overwhelmed by constant operational problems. Need a plan to help develop your confident leaders and create a company that runs smoothly without your daily involvement? Here's what to expect from the next half hour, 45 minutes. You're going to learn a simple 4-step game plan that turns your middle managers into confident strategic leaders in as little as 8 weeks, even if they're currently stuck in a reactive mindset. And you will discover the real reason why you're struggling with delegation and what you can do today to build trust, improve decision making, and free up your time to lead your company, just like you really want to do. We will explore why hands-off leadership is the least effective way to develop managers and why this 4-step game plan really works. And finally, you'll find the way to become the visionary leader that your company needs and that you want to be, with all the freedom, confidence, and control that you've earned and deserved. There's a lot of freedom when you let go of being stuck in the weeds. So here's what I'll provide today: a start to finish game plan to develop middle managers into proactive decision-making leaders so you can step back from the daily firefighting and focus on strategic growth. And a note on that, I make assumptions during this whole masterclass. And one of them is, you're involved in daily firefighting. Maybe you're not. And maybe you do have a plan, an existing plan. But I know there are some steps in here that will help you, if you do have that plan, improve. So 30 seconds about me. I'm the founder and CEO of Avanzará. Avanzará is Spanish for will move forward, which I love. I love the action of that word. I have 37 years of real life experience. I was an entrepreneur. As you can see, I successfully co-founded and exited 2 staffing companies during those 37 years. So I did learn a thing or two. I made I always think I made every mistake in the book. There's probably some I didn't make, but I can't think of one right now. My third company that I started, I am an executive coach and a workshop facilitator as well as a speaker. And I found my unlived life on an 1,136-acre ranch in the Texas Hill Country. If you want to know anything more about that, send me a DM or an email. I would love to talk about that. I can talk about that all day. Okay, does this sound like you? Do you find yourself stepping in to solve problems that your manager should handle? Or are you frustrated by your middle managers who lack confidence in making key decisions? Does it feel like no one on your leadership team truly owns their role? And have you tried leadership programs only to see little to no improvement? That was definitely me in both of my staffing companies. I would do the 1 day, Fred Pryor, I don't know if anybody remembers that, but I would send them to that. They'd come back full of ideas and maybe pumped up about making some changes. And then things just went back to the way they were. And I know why that happened. And now, with my coaching background, I'll show you why and how to prevent that. So, here's a little poll. If you would put in the chat, please, what's your biggest challenge with your middle managers right now? Is it A, do they wait for you to make every decision? B, are they avoiding hard conversations or conflict? C, are they managing tasks but not the outcome? D, are they struggling to earn their team's trust? Or E, all of the above? And I can see in the chat that the most common answer is E, all of the above, which does not surprise me. I struggled with every one of these with my middle managers. And that's why I'm so excited to show you what to do about it. And I've got good news. None of those things are really the problem. The real problem is that you don't have a system for developing your middle managers. Or if you do, and you're here listening to this and participating in this masterclass, maybe it needs improvement. Maybe it needs some tweaking. So I'm going to give you the system right here in this masterclass. And once you have it in place, you will have a team of middle managers who can take full ownership of their roles, and you can step away from the daily problem solving and focus on high level growth, which is what every leader and executive really wants to do. And guess what? Your managers want you to step away. Your company will operate efficiently with clear communication and strategic decision making at all levels. And the communication, you will find out during these next few minutes, that's really my key topic. I believe without clear communication, nothing else can happen. And finally, you'll have the freedom to scale without worrying that everything's going to fall apart without you. And you don't have to jump to the rescue when your managers make poor decisions. And they will make poor decisions. We all do. But you don't have to be the rescuer. Here's another question for you. Please put your answer in the chat. And you can just use A, B, C, or D. If your managers were fully self-sufficient and trusted by their teams, what would you focus on more? A, vision and long-term growth. B, new business opportunities. C, strategic partnerships. Or D, time with family and personal life. And in the chat, the winner is D, time with family and personal life. Again, that's not surprising. Our work often takes us, especially when we're mired in the day-to-day problems and challenges, it takes us away from our personal life. And that includes family, friends, and it includes you. Here are 3 mistakes that executives make. There's a lot more, but I focused on these 3 because I think they're extremely important. Thinking that more training will fix the problem. Assuming that managers will figure it out over time. And we're going to dive into these in a minute, a little bit deeper. And the third one is micromanaging to ensure that things get done right. You are probably making at least one of these mistakes, if not all of them. And again, I know I did many times. Micromanaging wasn't really my issue. I have another one that I made, and I'm going to ask you before I tell you mine, what's the most common mistake you make? It doesn't have to be one of those three, but put in what your most common mistake is. While I'm waiting, I'm going to tell you mine. Mine was and still remains, I want to fix everything. So when one of my team members would come to me with an issue, instead of using my coaching skills and helping them come up with the answer and the solution, I would want to give it to them. I couldn't help myself. And it looks like for all you, actually, I see that answer in the chat. That's kind of awesome. We all want to do it. It's really a common trait for leaders and executives. You just want to swoop in, make everything better, and then move on. Well, mistake number one, let's dive a little bit deeper in thinking that more training is going to fix the problem. Most generic leadership problems or programs don't teach the practical, real world decision making. They might teach it is more generic, and it has to be when you think about it because they're not customized to your industry or to your people or what your issues are. And when you send people out for training and there's no reinforcement or coaching, people forget. They're just simply going to forget about it. And this is one of the reasons why I have elements of coaching skills and principles in really everything I do in my coaching, of course, but also in the workshops and skills development. Also, your managers need to be coached, as I said, in real business situations, not just a list of theories or academics. They really need to see, well, how does this pertain to me? They will retain it a lot longer and be able to use it in real life situations. Mistake number two is assuming managers will figure it out over time. This one kind of hits home with me because I'm a baby boomer. And back in the 80s when I started my first company, this was very much what the philosophy was, is that you basically throw people in, you promote them up into a middle management position and then just say good luck. Maybe you give them a few expectations, but you figure out they're going to figure it out. And sometimes they do, but that's not a great strategy. And without structured development, the managers will repeat the same mistake over and over again. And waiting for experience, again, that's not a good strategy. That allows costly errors and inefficiencies. And I mean, you don't even know what the cost of lost opportunities are when you have a manager that doesn't know what they're doing. And most managers will stay in reactive mode unless they're actively coached. It's a mindset. It's coaching them to be proactive rather than reactive. So, leaving leadership development to chance means that you're going to be putting out fires instead of focusing on growth. And again, not a great strategy. The third mistake, micromanaging to ensure things are done right. And man, so many people do this. I don't think anybody wants to. And I know managers don't want to be micromanaged, but it happens all the time. And for those of us who have had children or have children, how many times did you just say, let me just do it myself, it'll be easier? A lot. I did that a lot. But micromanaging, there's a lot of issues with that. It can create bottlenecks and limits business and personal growth. So if your kid can't tie her shoes and you tie them for her and she never learns, she's going to be 20 years old and still wearing Velcro tennis shoes. That you have to let people learn and grow, and they want to. It erodes confidence. Micromanaging erodes confidence and it prevents them from thinking strategically. Again, if you're just doing it for them or swooping in and taking care of it, then there's going to be no thinking involved. And I say, well, I guess that person doesn't trust me. My manager doesn't trust me. And it keeps you, the owner or the executive, in the weeds instead of leading at the high level, which is where you want to be. Implementing a system that builds that decision-making capability in your managers will eliminate the need to micromanage it, and you will be so glad to let that go. So in the chat, type the one behavior or mindset that your managers are struggling with that keeps them from stepping up as leaders. And the one that I see the most is lack of confidence. That's very interesting. And that definitely is a mindset that coaching can do a lot to increase. So let me introduce you to my four-step system. I call it the LEAD system. Yes, there's an acronym, and here's what it stands for. You're going to take charge and lead with confidence. Logical thinking, will dive deep, a little bit deeper into each one of these. Entrepreneurial or an ownership mindset, assertive decisions, and direct communication. My favorite, I warned you. So, quick question for you. What part of the lead method is your team missing the most right now? I have a guess. And indeed, it is communication. Let's look at logical thinking first. Logical thinking framework. I have a few thoughts on that, and because I think that logical thinking does need a framework. It shifts your mindset from reactive to proactive. So from reactive problem solvers to proactive and strategic logical thinkers. It will equip your managers so they can anticipate the challenges instead of, waiting for them to hit and align with company goals. That's an important part of this, that it aligns with goals. And then they can execute with the confidence that we see that they need work with that. Also, a logical thinking framework creates leaders who think critically and take initiative. They take action, and that's what we're looking for. I have three problem-solving models that work. I love having a model for just about everything because or a framework. It's something you can go back to if you're stuck or you're preparing for a conversation. First one is the 5 whys method. You probably are familiar with this, and it's one where you're getting down to the root cause. It's a very popular one, but I think it works awesomely. And in coaching, we notice that the first why and the answer to the first why is rarely the real reason. And that's why this model encourages one to go dig deeper until you finally get, oh, that's what this is really about. The OODA loop, this is when you need to make a fast decision in dynamic situations like I imagine, you're putting out a fire. Well, okay, you observe, you orient, you decide, and you act. And you do that really fast. And that happens in business too. Sometimes we have to make quick decisions that we don't have time to really ponder all the ins and outs of what decision to make. I love the Eisenhower matrix. You're going to see it again in another slide because it helps you prioritize. So you prioritize what's urgent and important. And you can see, some things are not urgent, but they're important. And some things are not urgent or important. So and if you have the time to go ahead and list these things out, it really helps you make a better, more strategic decision. So when you identify and align priorities, you can identify your key priorities and then train the managers to align those priorities with their daily actions. And I would venture to say that there are some middle managers, and probably more than one, that they don't have any idea what the priorities are, or at least what their leaders' priorities are. They might not know even the company's goals. So there we go. You target those goals. They need to be communicated and then develop your managers to lead with those goals. You need to be proactive to think logically. I'll probably say that again because it's so important to anticipate those challenges rather than just sitting and waiting for them to occur. I know during my staffing days, oh my gosh, there were days that I felt like I was so reactive all day, jumping from one issue to the next, solving it, probably micromanaging, and then going and all day. And at the end of the day, I would think, what did I even accomplish? Nothing strategic, I can guarantee you that. It's important to solve problems before they escalate, not after they become monumental. And this ties really into communication and having difficult conversations too. A lot of times we put those off. Next thing you know, some little issue becomes huge. And you're like, where did that come from? Make decisions when they need to be made. That gets back to, the first two, you're anticipating the challenges, you solve problems before they escalate, and then you can make the decisions then, not later on after the issue has become gigantic. So stop waiting for permission. That is part of step two with the entrepreneurial mindset. So owners, like I was an owner twice, there was nobody to ask for permission. I had to make the decision or find resources myself. So when you have this ownership or entrepreneurial mindset, you shift from a compliance mindset to the ownership mindset. Stop waiting for permission. And you move from, well, I'm just doing my job mentality to a key decision maker mentality. And then managers take responsibility from outcomes, not just tasks. So they're not pointing fingers, just saying, well, I did that. They're aware of what the outcome is and they own it. So why the shift? Because taking psychological ownership of a leadership role equals performance, equals better results. And who doesn't want that in their business? Whatever your business is, ultimately, we are looking for better results. Reshaping manager behavior without micromanaging them, it fosters that leadership initiative and problem solving skills. It really does. And these are skills that can be learned. So managers will learn in this four-step process how to proactively identify and solve business and people challenges. And let's face it, at the end of the day, it's always about the people, no matter, again, what your industry is. They'll learn how to step into leadership roles without waiting for direction or permission. And they'll learn how to take responsibility for outcomes. Okay, assertive decisions. This is step three. Without confident decision making, everything goes through upper management and creates bottlenecks. You can be a bottleneck. I was talking to a client the other day, and she told me that their upper management team, they did not feel like they had the authority to make any decisions. So everything got funneled up to the CEO. Imagine the responsibility that CEO had. And yes, it created bottlenecks. Growth and progress is slowed down, and leadership, like I said, that CEO is strained unnecessarily. So I have in my program three repeatable decision-making frameworks. Decrease It decreases trial and error risks. First one, cost benefit. We all know that one and love it. I do anyway. It's where you list, you have your pros and cons. Basically, you list the potential costs, and which can be financial, time, and resources. All those things cost money. And then you list the benefits, the ROI, efficiency, and then you compare. And then you make your decision based on that. It keeps emotions out of the financial decisions. The RACI matrix, that assigns roles. And I don't know if you've ever used this one. I have. And it can be very simple. It's just, well, who does the work? And, we would write this down. Who owns the outcome? Who gives input, and who needs updates? And then it's very clear great communication. It's very, very clear who does what. Here's the Eisenhower matrix again. I love it. It separates the tasks. Urgent and important, important, not urgent, urgent, not important, and not urgent, not important. So if you're having time management issues or your managers are, they can use this. And believe me, time management, that's one of the top executive coaching issues that we see, that executive coaches see. This really helps focus on what needs to be done. So, to reinforce your decision making skills, role play with real world scenarios. Lots of people don't like role playing. I do it. My program includes it. It pushes people outside their comfort zone, but we use real world scenarios and real time coaching moments. I put coaching, as I mentioned, in everything I do. And it's there a lot in the role play. And the managers will learn how to use those coaching techniques and skills. And then who doesn't love hearing about other people's problems? So I love using cross-functional case studies, real case studies on how a company overcame middle manager issues and building people into leaders. So when you give controlled autonomy, it allows managers to make key decisions, and they want to do that. They really do. And it gives clear decision guidelines, and gradually it can increase the scope of authority. And everybody wants that. Okay, here's another poll. What's the biggest reason you think you're still caught in day-to-day operations? That's assuming you still think you are, but I know I am. A, I don't fully trust my manager's decisions. B, communication keeps breaking down. C, I haven't had time to coach them properly. D, I'm not sure they see the bigger picture, or honestly, E, all of the above. And once again, actually, it's a tie between I don't fully trust my manager's decisions and communication keeps breaking down. All that is included in my 4-step plan. Here's step 4, direct communication and influence. You train your managers to deliver feedback with clarity and confidence. Absolutely so vital to a strong leadership. We teach managers to frame messages to gain buy-in. And that buy-in is so important for building the trust between the managers and their teams. And I'm going to equip managers to lead difficult conversations, something that many of us avoid. I did it. And that's when, if you remember a few slides back, when you avoid those difficult conversations, often a small little issue becomes ginormous. Here's another poll. If your company had to run for 6 months without you, how confident are you in your manager's ability to lead? That's a good question. Are you A, 100% confident you could walk away today? B, somewhat confident a few people would step up? C, not confident things would break? And D, total chaos. I am the system. And here I have another tie between C and D. So either you're not confident, you think you know some things would go awry, or it's total chaos. So when it's all said and done, you will have clarity on your team's strengths and gaps, and you'll easily identify and grow those high potential leaders. Your team's going to transform because of the ownership, communication, and alignment that has been missing. And you will have the bandwidth to focus on growth, innovation, and legacy, not just survival. You're going to have that leadership pipeline, that emerging leadership pipeline that we really have to have. It's always ready for scale, succession, or the inevitable change. So you'll finally get to be the leader you were meant to be. Visionary, strategic, and free, yay, from the daily chaos. Bottom line, you will have a start to finish system to go from overwhelmed, reactive executive to an empowered strategic leader with a self-sustaining team in as little as 8 weeks. So now you have a choice, and here's how I can help. We can show you how to apply the system to achieve a high performing, self sufficient middle management team. And this is how it works. We hop on a Zoom call. I say 45 minutes. It might be an hour, it might be more, it might be less. But this is where you tell me everything that's keeping you stuck and everything that you want to build. So I can customize the 4 step process for you and for your team. So on the call, we'll map out a clear step-by-step game plan to strengthen your leadership pipeline and work on your company's growth. Now, who is this for? I'm going to be, totally honest and upfront. It's not a fit for everyone. I get that, and that's okay. It's best suited for executives and founders or senior leaders who already have a middle management team. And they're genuinely committed to developing those managers into strong and strategic leaders. It's also important, actually, it's really important that you're serious about building a sustainable leadership pipeline and that you're open to a thoughtful investment. Your people are your key to growth, and this will be an investment in their long-term success. If it sounds like you and you're looking for a true partner to help you scale with clarity, confidence, and less chaos, I'm not guaranteeing no chaos because that would be unrealistic. And anyway, chaos can be a little fun. But then if you're looking for that, I would love to connect. So you can click the link below. That goes right to my scheduling platform and book a discovery session. It's called Introductory Meeting, and I would really love to talk. Even if you have questions and maybe you're not ready to jump in, but you want to ask a few questions, learn more, love to talk to you about that. Thank you so much for your time. I'm Catherine Baker, and I look forward to talking with you soon.